Imagine you're walking home on a quiet afternoon. You pass a large tree where a crow is perched on a branch above you. The bird stares down. You barely notice it. But the crow notices you. It watches your face. It studies the way you move. And then it flies away. Months later, you're walking through the same neighborhood. A crow suddenly begins calling loudly. Another crow joins in. Then another. Within minutes, several birds seem to be following you from tree to tree. Watching, tracking, remembering. It feels almost impossible. How could a bird recognize one person among millions? How could it remember a face after months, or even years? And perhaps most unsettling of all, how could it tell other crows about you? As strange as it sounds, scientists have discovered that crows possess one of the most remarkable memories in the animal kingdom. These birds can recognize human faces, remember threats for years, learn from experience, and even pass information to future generations. What looks like an ordinary blackbird may actually be one of the smartest creatures living alongside us. This is the creepy memory of crows. And once you understand what these birds are capable of, you may never look at them the same way again. Chapter 1. The Geniuses of the Bird World. For centuries, people underestimated birds. Their brains were small. Their behavior seemed simple. Most scientists assumed that intelligence belonged mainly to mammals such as monkeys, dolphins, elephants, and humans. Then researchers began studying crows. The results were astonishing. Crows belong to a family of birds called corvids. This group includes ravens, magpies, rooks, and jackdaws. Among animal behavior experts, corvids have become famous for their intelligence. Some studies suggest that crows can solve problems at a level comparable to young human children. They can use tools to obtain food. They can plan for future events. They can recognize patterns. They can even understand cause and effect. But one ability stands above all the others: their extraordinary memory. Unlike many animals that rely mostly on instinct, crows appear capable of forming detailed mental records of important experiences. And those records can last for years. Chapter 2. The Experiment That Shocked the World. One of the most famous crow studies began with a simple question: can crows recognize individual humans? To find out, scientists conducted an experiment. Researchers wore a frightening mask while temporarily capturing and tagging wild crows. The birds were then safely released. The scientists expected the crows to react negatively at first. After all, being captured is a stressful experience. But they also expected the birds to eventually forget. That never happened. Days later, when a researcher wearing the same mask walked through the area, crows immediately recognized the face. They screamed warning calls. They followed the masked person. Some even swooped down from above. The birds clearly remembered the individual associated with danger. Then weeks passed. Months passed. Years passed. The reactions continued. The crows never forgot. What had begun as a simple experiment became one of the strongest demonstrations of long-term memory ever observed in wild birds. Chapter 3. The Face Recognition Experts. Think about how many faces humans see every day. Hundreds. Sometimes thousands. Yet even people struggle to remember strangers. Facial recognition is a complex task. It requires the brain to notice subtle details and store them for future reference. Remarkably, crows can do exactly that. Scientists discovered that crows pay close attention to facial features. They are not simply recognizing clothing or body shape. They are studying faces. This means changing your jacket, shoes, or hairstyle may not fool them. If a crow has learned to identify you, it often continues recognizing you despite changes in appearance. Researchers were amazed by how accurate these birds could be. The ability provides an obvious survival advantage. If a particular person poses a threat, remembering that face could save a crow's life. Chapter 4. Crows talk to each other. Now comes the truly creepy part. The captured crows weren't the only birds reacting to the dangerous mask. Other crows began reacting too. Even birds that had never been captured. Even young birds born years later. How is this possible? Scientists believe crows share information through social learning. When one crow encounters danger, it communicates through specific alarm calls and behaviors. Nearby crows pay attention. Young crows observe adults. The information spreads through the group. Imagine one crow discovering a dangerous predator. Soon the entire community knows about it. The same process appears to happen with humans. One crow learns that a certain face represents danger. Then that knowledge spreads. In effect, crows create a network of shared information. A bad interaction with one crow can become known to dozens of others. Chapter 5. The Power of Social Memory. Humans often think memory is an individual ability, but crows demonstrate something much more powerful. They combine individual memory with social memory. One bird remembers an experience. Then that experience becomes part of the group's knowledge. This system allows crows to learn rapidly without every bird needing to face the same danger. If one crow discovers a threat, the rest benefit from that discovery. It's a highly efficient survival strategy, and it helps explain why crow populations thrive in challenging environments. They learn together, they remember together, and they adapt together. Chapter 6. Why crows remember humans. Remembering a face requires energy. The brain must devote resources to storing and retrieving information. So why would crows spend so much effort remembering humans? The answer is simple. Humans are important. We influence nearly every environment crows inhabit. Some people feed birds. Others chase them away. Some protect nests. Others destroy them. To a crow, every human represents a possible opportunity or threat. Being able to distinguish between individuals provides a major survival advantage. The birds that remembered useful information were more likely to survive. Over generations, natural selection favored better memory and greater intelligence. Today, crows possess cognitive abilities that continue to surprise researchers. Chapter 7. A Brain Built for Thinking. At first glance, a crow's brain doesn't seem impressive. It is much smaller than a human brain. But size isn't everything. Scientists discovered that bird brains contain densely packed neurons. In some regions, the concentration of neurons rivals that found in primates. This allows crows to process information extremely efficiently. Their brains may be small, but they are remarkably powerful. This helps explain their problem-solving abilities. It also helps explain their memory. Crows aren't simply reacting to instinct. They are analyzing information, learning from experience, and making decisions based on past events. In many ways, their intelligence challenges traditional ideas about animal cognition. Chapter 8. Tool Users of the Sky. Memory plays an important role in another famous crow ability, tool use. Several crow species have been observed creating and modifying tools. Some use sticks to extract insects from holes. Others shape leaves into hooks. A few can even solve multi-step puzzles requiring careful planning. These tasks depend on memory. The bird must remember what worked previously and apply that knowledge in new situations. Without memory, complex tool use would be impossible. Every successful experience becomes valuable information stored for future use. The better the memory, the better the problem solver. Chapter 9. The City Survivors. Few wild animals have adapted to modern cities as successfully as crows. Urban environments are complicated. Traffic moves constantly. People come and go. Food sources change daily. Yet crows thrive. Part of their success comes from memory. A crow remembers where food is located. It remembers which garbage bins are most productive. It remembers traffic patterns. Some crows have even been observed dropping nuts onto roads and waiting for cars to crack them open. After traffic stops, they safely collect the food. Chapter 7. A Brain Built for Thinking. At first glance, a crow's brain doesn't seem impressive. It is much smaller than a human brain. But size isn't everything. Scientists discovered that bird brains contain densely packed neurons. In some regions, the concentration of neurons rivals that found in primates. This allows crows to process information extremely efficiently. Their brains may be small, but they are remarkably powerful. This helps explain their problem-solving abilities. It also helps explain their memory. Crows aren't simply reacting to instinct. They are analyzing information, learning from experience, and making decisions based on past events. In many ways, their intelligence challenges traditional ideas about animal cognition. Chapter 8. Tool Users of the Sky. Memory plays an important role in another famous crow ability, tool use. Several crow species have been observed creating and modifying tools. Some use sticks to extract insects from holes. Others shape leaves into hooks. A few can even solve multi-step puzzles requiring careful planning. These tasks depend on memory. The bird must remember what worked previously and apply that knowledge in new situations. Without memory, complex tool use would be impossible. Every successful experience becomes valuable information stored for future use. The better the memory, the better the problem solver. Chapter 9. The City Survivors. Few wild animals have adapted to modern cities as successfully as crows. Urban environments are complicated. Traffic moves constantly. People come and go. Food sources change daily. Yet crows thrive. Part of their success comes from memory. A crow remembers where food is located. It remembers which garbage bins are most productive. It remembers traffic patterns. Some crows have even been observed dropping nuts onto roads and waiting for cars to crack them open. After traffic stops, they safely collect the food. This behavior requires observation, learning, timing, and memory. It's a remarkable example of urban intelligence. Chapter 10. Do crows hold grudges? Many people believe crows hold grudges. Scientists avoid using human emotional terms whenever possible. However, the behavior can certainly appear that way. A crow that has experienced a negative interaction often responds aggressively when encountering the same individual later. Sometimes the response continues for years. From a scientific perspective, this isn't necessarily a grudge. It's memory. The bird has learned that a particular person may be dangerous. Responding defensively increases the chances of survival. Yet the effect can seem remarkably personal, especially when multiple crows join in. Chapter 11. They remember kindness too. Fortunately, crow memory isn't only about danger. These birds also remember positive experiences. People who regularly feed crows often notice changes in behavior. The birds become less fearful. Some begin approaching more closely. Others appear to recognize specific individuals. There are even reports of crows leaving shiny objects behind. Buttons, coins, small metal pieces. Scientists debate whether these items are intentional gifts. Regardless of the explanation, the behavior demonstrates the complexity of crow-human relationships. The birds remember both good and bad experiences. Their memories shape future decisions. Chapter 12. The memory that outlives individuals. Perhaps the most astonishing discovery is that crow knowledge can survive across generations. Young birds learn by watching adults. When older crows react to a threat, younger birds pay attention. Over time, information spreads through families and social groups. The original event may have happened years earlier. The original crow may even be gone, yet the knowledge remains. In a sense, crows possess a form of cultural memory. Information can outlive the individuals who first discovered it. That's an extraordinary achievement for any animal. Conclusion. The next time you see a crow watching from a rooftop, a telephone wire, or a tree branch, remember this. You're looking at one of the most intelligent birds on Earth. A bird capable of recognizing faces. A bird capable of remembering experiences for years. A bird capable of teaching others what it has learned. Behind those dark eyes is a mind constantly observing, learning, and storing information. The crow may know which people are friendly, which people are dangerous, where food can be found, and how to survive in a rapidly changing world. What appears to be a simple bird is actually a master of memory, a creature that remembers, learns, teaches, and never stops watching. So if a crow seems to recognize you someday, don't be too surprised, because there's a very real chance that it does. If you enjoyed this documentary, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more fascinating stories about crow intelligence, raven psychology, bird behavior, and the hidden mysteries of the natural world. And tell us in the comments. If a crow could remember one thing about you forever, what do you think it would be? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next documentary. Bird Blackheart.